Yo, what's good? What's going on, peoples? What's going on? This your boy Elevated Ace, and I'm here to pass down the knowledge of the information that I resonate with to help those that seek spiritual enlightenment. All right, let's get busy. This one right here, this video is going to be basically the sun through the houses. Okay, so how the influence of the sun affects the houses, which are the areas of life. So this is going to be the first house all the way through the 12th house, okay? And this is the sun placement through all of the houses. Now, I want to do a disclaimer here. As far as the house goes, dealing with different types of astrology wheels, right? Like when you're dealing with Western astrology, Eastern astrology, and things of that nature, the house placement is set up different, you know? So you can have two signs in two different houses. Like on my chart, I got Cancer in the 3rd house, and I also have Cancer in the 4th house, just being that where the house placement falls at in my chart. So if you have a house that starts off on the early degrees, because we're dealing with degrees here, some charts that you can do deals with whole house systems, so it don't deal with the degree. You know, I don't like to use those. You know, the degrees basically break down your chart in a little bit more detail when you add in the degrees to it, rather than doing a whole house system. The whole house system basically is just a natural house system, which is Aries through Pisces all the way around. So you have all the houses are what they are. But when you're doing a birth chart and you're using like the Western, or you're using a Placidus, I think, don't quote me on that chart, then you can have a sign that falls into two houses. So like I said, example, I have Cancer in the 3rd house and in the 4th house, okay? Your ascendant, right? Like I was telling you, the ascendant or the rising, same thing, ascendant or rising, that is your 1st house. So if you're looking at your chart and you see the ascendant, my ascendant is Taurus, which makes Taurus my 1st house, okay? So if we're not using the degrees, then you will look at it like this. My ascendant is Taurus, right? Taurus is my 1st house, which automatically makes Gemini my 2nd house, which will make which will make Gemini my 2nd house, which will make Cancer my 3rd house, Leo my fourth house, Virgo my 5th house, Libra would be my 6th house, Scorpio would be my 7th, Sagittarius my 8th, Capricorn my 9th, Aquarius my 10th, Pisces will be my 7th house, and Aries will be my 12th house. That's on a whole house system. That's without factoring the degrees. Now, if I'm using, you know, a certain chart that factors in the degrees, then I have Capricorn, I have Cancer in 2 houses. I also have Capricorn in 2 houses as well. And I'll get to that in a later video. So, yeah, so your ascendant is your 1st house, right? So the sun now, how the sun plays and influences these houses, which are the areas of life. If you have the sun in the 1st house, right? The 1st house is basically your personality, okay? Your 1st house deals with your personality, your personal issues, personal places and people in your life, and also your personal affairs. That's the 1st house archetype. So that's basically that area of life. So the sun in the 1st house is bringing influences to the personal part of your life. You know what I'm saying? So the sun likes to see, right? The sun is your actions. The sun is what you're consciously aware of, right? What you can physically see. You bring light to that area of life. So if a sun is in the 1st house, the sun is bringing light. So your actions is how you want to be seen, and how people see you. So if you have the sun in the 1st house, the influences of the sun being in your 1st house is you like to shed light on your personality, your personal issues, your personal places and things, personal people in your life. So that's what you like to be seen as. So you're a very personal person. Your actions are very personal. That's the energy of the sun being in your 1st house. So if I had the sun in my 1st house, the sun will be in Taurus, right? So Taurus is my first house. So if you have the sun in your first house, then that's the influences that the sun is bringing. So you basically just want to be seen, and how you act, your actions, and are based off of personality, personal things, personal issues, personal affairs, right? When you have the sun in the second house, the sun in the second house deals with your values, whether personal, personal place or thing, where you plant your seeds at, because the second house on the natural chart is Taurus. So these are the energy influences that Taurus, you know what I'm saying, inherited from the second house energies. So the second house basically is your values, whether person, place, or thing, where you plant your seeds at, where you build your self-esteem, also what you have to offer to the world, gift, talents, or traits. So when you have the sun there, the sun is bringing light to that house. The sun is how you want to be seen, your actions, right? Is bringing fire to that house. It's being illuminated. So if you have the sun in your second house in your birth chart, all right, you're going to be a person that likes to act upon values, right? That's your actions. That's how you want to be seen. You're real big on values. Person, place, or thing, your self-esteem, right? Also what you have to offer to the world, give talents and traits. So that's the sun bringing light to the second house. Now, if you have the sun in the third house, right? The third house deals with all things that are familiar to you, person, place, or thing. So again, sun in the third house, your actions, right, are basically illuminating things in that area of life. So you like to bring light. That's of how you act, and most of the times in that house, in that area of life, which is things that you are familiar with. So your surroundings, right? So you like to shine, you like to bring light to that, to your surroundings. So that's something that you do a lot and don't realize what's happening there. But your sun illuminates the third house. You having the sun in your birth chart in the third house, right? The sun in the fourth house, likes to bring consciousness, awareness, and also likes to illuminate all things in the fourth house, which is a fourth house area. The fourth house area of life is home, privacy, family, domestic issues, also where you gain emotional stability at. So if you have the sun there, just know that that's how you're acting. That's what you put your actions into, right? That's how you like to be seen, and you value, you know what I'm saying, the home, the private, the family, and things like that. So somebody with the sun there, you know what I'm saying, that's how they would look at things, you know what I'm saying. Now the sun in the fifth house, right? If you have the sun in your fifth house in your chart, the sun likes to be in the fifth house. The sun is home in the fifth house. Okay, it likes to be there. So the fifth house is how you creatively express yourself, right? It's basically things that you are into, right? How you have fun. Okay, it's a house of how you have fun. So that house is sort of like childlike almost. You know what I'm saying? It like brings the joyfulness, you know, the child out of you. You know, how you enjoy yourself, as well as entertainment, who you're entertaining, and what you're being entertained by. So if you have the sun there in that house, you know, it likes to be there. It's home there. You know, so you have a lot of creativity going on there in that house. How you express yourself, you know, and also how you want to be seen and how others see you. They see you in the fifth house archetype light. All right, dealing with the having fun, enjoying yourself, expressing yourself, creativity, and things of that nature. That's dealing with the fifth house archetypes. Now, if you have the sun in the sixth house, right, the sun is going to bring light and it's going to illuminate, and you're going to be consciously aware, and your actions are going to be basically based off work, right? The work part, routine, scheduling, criticizing, looking at the details and things you do on a daily basis, right? So when you got the sun there illuminating that, that's basically what, you know what I'm saying, your actions are, how you want to be seen, and how other people, how you look at things and how other people see you, right? The area of life that's shining the most is going to be in the sixth house. In that area, the sixth house is the area of life that the sun is going to be shining on. If you have the sun in the sixth house, the sun placement. If the sun was in the sixth house in your birth chart, so when you was born and the universe took a snapshot of where all the planets was at the time you was born, and the sun was in the sixth house, which is the area of life that the sun was at, and is in the 6th house area, then you're dealing with work, routine, scheduling, criticism, looking at the details, things you do on a daily basis, all right? The sun is going to bring light to that. It's going to shed light on that, right? The 7th house. The 7th house, if you have the sun in the 7th house on your chart, it's basically how you relate, right? It's dealing with relationships. The 7th house on a natural chart is Libra, okay? So it's how you relate in all your relationships on all levels. So when you have the sun there, you like to involve yourself and put yourself in situations dealing with relationships. You know, that's how your actions are. That's how you're seen, and that's how, you know, people see you, and that's how you see things in life. That's what you're constantly aware of if you have the sun, you know what I'm saying, in the 7th house. If you have the sun in the 8th house, the sun is going to bring light. And the 8th house basically is Scorpio. So the 8th house archetype is all things. The area of life that the 8th house brings is all things in the dark or beneath the veil, right? Underneath the surface, lies, cheating, manipulating, jealousy, desire, transformation, power and control, life and death. Okay, so that's pretty much what the sun is gonna illuminate that stuff. So when you have the sun in your 8th house, you know, you shed light on the things in your life that you really don't want to bring out, because those are things that you like to keep, you know what I'm saying, deep down inside. Those are things that you like to keep secret. You know, Scorpios, when you're dealing with the 8th house kind of energy, you know what I'm saying, those things, you don't want to shed too much light on those things. But when the sun is there, when you have the sun in the 8th house, then basically you're bringing light to the things that are hidden. So a lot of people, you know, get to peek inside of your world, you know what I'm saying, of your secrets and shit like that. The sun has shed light on that. So, you know, people with the sun in the 8th house, you know, are often speaking about things that are very deep, dark, and secret. You know what I'm saying? They come off as somebody that's real extra with it, like as far as, you know what I'm saying, you letting out stuff that people be looking like, oh, I wouldn't have told that. Like, people be like, oh, you shouldn't have said nothing about that. But the sun being there, the sun, you know what I'm saying, it's how the sun brings it to the light, because the sun is like a flashlight. Wherever you put the sun at, it's like fire. Wherever you put the sun at is going to illuminate whatever is in that house. So how your actions, you know, how you see yourself and how others see you, they're going to come across as 8th house type of energies in that area of life. So that's people with the sun in the 8th house is going to be shedding light to all the stuff beneath the veil. It's going to bring light to all the cheating. It's going to bring light to all the manipulating. It's going to bring light to the jealousy. It's going to bring light to the desires, right? The sun is going to shine light on that stuff, okay? So people with the sun in the 8th house, you know, y'all got it kind of hard, because, you know, a lot of stuff be going on behind the scenes there, okay? Let's go on the next. Let's go to the next. So the sun, if you have the sun in the 9th house, right, you're bringing light, and your actions and how you're seen and how people see you is you're dealing with higher learning, right? You're bringing light and awareness. Your consciousness is basically upon higher learning, education, wisdom, knowledge, meanings, reasonings, broad philosophical point of views, and of the way of looking at the world, and also your overall experiences. So when you have the sun there, you're illuminating that area of life, okay? It's the 9th house. So a lot of people with the sun in the 9th house, you know, are people that, you know, like to teach, you know, teachers, people that like to travel, you know. The 9th house also deals with long distance travels, you know. The 9th house, if we want to break it down to the part of the being that we are in, the 9th house would be the thighs. That's the thigh part of the area of the 9th house. So if you have the sun in the 9th house, then the sun will be in this being's thighs. Okay? If you have the sun in the 10th house, which is my placement, I have the sun in my chart is in the 10th house. My 10th house is Aquarius. Okay? Because if you breaking it down through my chart, right? Taurus being my first house, that with the double houses going on, you know, the double signs of my houses, Aquarius falls in the 10th house, okay? So, me, I like to be seen in a certain kind of light, you know what I'm saying? Status. So, I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, and the things that I like, that I want to see, the things that I act upon are status. you know, what you're known for, how you're seen, and what ultimately can become your career or your popularity level. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm doing right now, as far as bringing these YouTube videos and recording these YouTube videos, has a lot to do with my son. You know what I'm saying? With the sun being in my 10th house. So I like to shed light on this area, you know, and I like to be seen in a certain light. So if I was to, not play it, not follow the wave, you know what I'm saying, and going against the wave and stuff like that, then I can really put myself in a bad place to where if it don't work out, you know, the way I see it to be working out with my son, then I can be devastated. You know what I'm saying? It can really, you know, mess me up real bad depending on how deep I dive my spirit into that. All right, so that's the sun in the 10th house. The sun illuminates, right? So I like to be seen in a certain kind of light. All right, got 10% left on this phone. I should have charged it up, but we almost done with the sun through the houses. If you have the sun in the 11th house in your chart, so you're bringing light, and you're consciously aware of, and how people see you and how you see people is basically on how you conduct yourself in the public arena. So you're very aware of how you conduct yourself. You know, you're very big on that. Like you look at how you're conducting yourself. You know, you criticize yourself if you don't like the way you conducted yourself. And also people can see that from you, because people can see the sun as well. When you express the sun, and that's how you express yourself, is through the sun, people can see your sun. They can see you shining, you know what I'm saying? And they can see what area of life that you're putting your energy into, right? So it's dealing with the unknown, the unfamiliar, science. The unknown is science, astrology, occult, mysticism, basically, technology, associates, families, friends, locations, organizations, right? That's the unknown, okay? The unfamiliar, basically, and also the unfamiliar. That's what the 11th house archetype is. That's the area of life the 11th house is. So when you have the sun there, you're bringing light to the public arena, basically your surroundings as well, you know. But it's actually not just not in close proximities like the third house. The third house is your surroundings, but your close surroundings and proximities, the neighborhood. But the 11th house, the 11th house is dealing with the public arena. So this is dealing with people, places, and things on a broad scale that's far out. You know, this is a far out house right here. All right. So the 11th house and the third house, right? And the 7th house are all air houses. So air houses dealing with communication, analyzing, right? And thinking. Okay. That's all. The 11th house is basically the third and the 7th house, all wrapped up in one. Okay. That's the sun through the 11th house. Now, if you have the sun in the 12th house, right, in your birth chart, when you was born, let me get a sip real quick. All right. When you have the sun in the 12th house in your chart, you're basically shedding light on your dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, superstition, supernatural, fantasy, and higher understanding. So people with the sun in the 12th house are very creative people. They're able to manifest things. They're able to manifest things real fast, you know. They're very talented because what they're doing is what they're consciously and aware of, and how they focus their energy is illuminating the dreams. So if you can shed light on your dreams and bring your dreams to reality by shedding light to it, then you can manifest your dreams. So people with the sun in the 12th house, you know, they manifest things, you know what I'm saying? They can manifest a lot quicker with the sun in the 12th house, you know, as far as dealing with music as well, dealing with talents, and they're musically inclined, you know. And these people, the 12th house basically is Pisces, and Pisces is mutable water, you know. So it's a broad scale of dealing with the emotions and feelings. So when you're shining your light onto a place that's dealing with the emotions and feelings, then you are manifesting things a lot quicker when you can get the sun and the moon together like that. And, you know, when you're shedding light on those areas of life. So basically that's the sun through all the houses. Now, let me tell you how it works a little bit now. On top of that now, So, and this is my rulership too. I could have used this chart right here because, let's see, the Sun in Neptune, Pisces. I don't have Pisces on here, do I? No. Okay. Now, on that note now, my ascendant is Taurus, right? So, let's just say that I have the Sun in the 3rd house, right? If the Sun is in my 3rd house, right? The Sun will be in Cancer. So how I'm seen and how I see things and how other people see me will be in the 3rd house archetype. We'll be dealing with the my surroundings, right? And that will be looked at in a Cancer type of way. So the Sun will be expressed through a Cancer type of archetype if you have, the Sun in the 3rd house, which is my chart. My 3rd house is Cancer. So let's just say you have the Sun in Virgo, right? If you have the Sun in Virgo, your actions are expressed through a Virgo type of way. Okay, it's being expressed through thinking, communicating, and that's what it looks like when you're expressing yourself. When you're expressing yourself, when the Sun is in the 6th house, the way you're expressing yourself is seen and looked at as a Virgo archetype, right? Because it's being expressed, but Virgo is the ruler of that house, so it's being expressed through a Virgo type of way, which dealing with the thinking, thinking, analyzing, and being practical. All right, that's just an example of what it does when the Sun is in your house and how to look at it. All right, so that's basically the Sun through all the houses. My phone is getting ready to die, and I'm gonna come back with another planet through all the houses so we can get all the houses straightened out about the planet placement. All right, it's your boy Elevated. I'm out. Peace.